Well, you're being charged with principal and first degree to attempted homicide. Okay, that's what your warrant's for. So,
attempted homicide?
yes, ma'am.
Oh my God.
Stop scrolling, because what you're about to hear sounds like something out of a horror movie. But police say it's real. A quiet neighborhood in Florida, the kind where nothing ever seems to happen. Kids playing outside, neighbors waving, life moving normally. But behind one closed door, something deeply disturbing was unfolding, something no one saw coming. Investigators say it all started on a platform millions of kids use every single day, Roblox. Now imagine this. While parents think their children are just playing harmless games online, chatting with friends, building virtual worlds, authorities say a 36-year-old mother was allegedly using that same platform for something far more sinister. According to police, this woman, identified as Tara Sykes, was not just chatting casually. Detectives say she was communicating with a 10-year-old girl, but it wasn't normal conversation. It wasn't innocent, it was instructions. Instructions that, according to investigators, crossed a terrifying line. Authorities claim she attempted to manipulate this child into harming an infant, and even plotting violence against the child's own guardians. Let that sink in for a second. A grown adult, allegedly guiding a child towards something unthinkable. And here, where it gets even more chilling, police say they were able to uncover these messages during an investigation, piecing together conversations that painted a very disturbing picture. The kind of evidence that makes even seasoned officers stop and look twice, because this wasn't just online talk anymore. This was something that could have turned into a real-life tragedy. Now, imagine being one of the deputies responding to that call, pulling up to a home, knowing what you might be walking into, but still not fully prepared for what you're about to hear or see. Bodycam footage captured that exact moment. Officers approach the house, calm, controlled, but focused. They knock. The door opens. And standing there is Tara Sykes. At first, everything seems almost normal, but then the tone shifts. Deputies begin to explain why they're there. The charges, the allegations, attempted homicide, aggravated child abuse, heavy words, serious accusations. And what's shocking is her reaction. Instead of panic, instead of immediate denial, she appears confused, almost like she doesn't fully grasp the weight of what's happening. And that moment, caught on camera, has left many people asking the same question. How does something like this even begin? How does an online platform meant for kids turn into a space where something this dangerous can allegedly take place? And more importantly, how many parents have no idea what's really happening behind their child's screen? Because this case isn't just about one arrest. It's about a much bigger issue, the hidden side of online interactions, the risks that aren't always obvious, and the terrifying reality that sometimes danger doesn't knock on your front door, it logs into your child's game. This is only the beginning of the story, and trust me, it gets even more intense from here. Before we go deeper, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss what comes next. And I want you to comment below. Where are you watching from right now? Because this story, it's got people talking everywhere. Next part is where things take a darker turn. But here, where everything takes a darker and far more unsettling turn, because investigators say this didn't happen overnight. This wasn't just one random message or a misunderstanding taken out of context. Detectives believe there was a pattern, a build-up, conversations that slowly escalated into something far more dangerous. According to reports, the communication between Tara Sykes and the 10-year-old girl allegedly became more intense over time. What may have started as simple interaction on Roblox quickly shifted into something authorities describe as deeply inappropriate and alarming. Police say the suspect didn't just talk, she allegedly gave guidance, step by step. And the most disturbing part, investigators believe the child on the other end may not have fully understood the minors. Every move matters. Every second counts. They had to be sure. They had to protect the child. And they had to stop whatever this was before it escalated any further. But here's the question that's been bothering a lot of people following this case. How did no one notice sooner? Was there any sign, any warning, or was everything happening so quietly, hidden behind screens and usernames, that it slipped completely under the radar? Because in today's world, conversations don't just happen face-to-face anymore. They happen in chats, in games, in private messages that parents may never see. And that's exactly what makes this case so chilling. It wasn't loud. It wasn't obvious. It was hidden until it wasn't. By the time authorities say they uncovered what was going on, the situation had already crossed into extremely serious territory, leading to charges that could carry life-altering consequences. And yet, there was still one thing investigators needed to do: confront her, come face to face, ask the questions that everyone now wants answered. What was she thinking? Why would she allegedly do this? And did she truly understand the impact of her actions? Because what happened next, caught on body cam, would leave even more people shocked. Before we get into that moment, make sure you're subscribed and don't forget to drop a comment telling me where you're watching from. This story is unfolding in ways no one expected. This is where the arrest happens. And trust me, you're not ready for how it goes down. And this is the moment everything finally comes to a head. Deputies arrive at the home, fully aware of the seriousness of the situation. You can almost feel the tension, because they're not walking into a routine call. They're stepping into a case that, according to investigators, involves a child alleged manipulation and a potential threat that had to be stopped. They approach the door, knock. A few seconds pass and then it opens. Standing there is 36-year-old Tara Sykes. At first glance, nothing seems out of place. No chaos, no visible panic, just a normal doorway in a normal neighborhood. But within seconds, that normal feeling disappears. Officers begin speaking calm, direct, professional. They ask questions, trying to establish control of the situation. And then they say it, the charges: attempted homicide, aggravated child abuse. You can imagine how heavy those words sound in that moment. And what happens next is what has everyone talking. Instead of reacting the way most people would expect, investigators say she appears confused, not aggressive, not trying to run, just confused, like she doesn't fully understand why she's being arrested. Bodycam footage reportedly captures that exact reaction: the hesitation, the questioning, the disbelief. But deputies don't hesitate. They move in, they secure her. And just like that, it's over, or at least that part of it is. Because while the arrest may have happened in minutes, the impact of what led up to it is far from over. Neighbors begin to notice, word starts spreading. And suddenly, that quiet neighborhood isn't so quiet anymore. People are asking questions. Did this really happen here? Was there any sign? Could this happen anywhere? And that's when the bigger picture starts to hit. Because this isn't just about one person being taken into custody. It's about what investigators say happened behind closed doors and behind screens. It's about how something that started online allegedly moved into dangerous territory. And it's about how close this situation may have come to turning into something even worse. But here, where the story takes another turn, because after the arrest, the focus shifts from what happened to what happens next. The legal system steps in, evidence is reviewed, and the reality of those charges begins to set in. But before we go there, before we break down what she could be facing, you need to understand just how serious this situation has become. So if you've made it this far, hit that subscribe button right now and drop a comment telling me where you're watching from. Because this next part, it's where everything gets even more intense. Now, let's talk about what comes after the arrest, because being taken into custody is just the beginning. Once Tara Sykes is booked, the case officially moves into the legal phase, and that's where things start to get very real. We're talking about charges that carry massive consequences: attempted homicide, aggravated child abuse. These aren't minor accusations. These are life-altering. Prosecutors begin reviewing the evidence collected by investigators: digital messages, timelines, communication records. Every detail matters, every word, every interaction. Because in a case like this, intent is everything. What was said? How was it said? And most importantly, what was allegedly being encouraged? Legal experts often point out that cases involving online communication can be complex. There's context, interpretation, and the challenge of proving exactly what someone meant. But according to authorities, the evidence in this case raised enough concern to move forward with serious charges. And that leads to the next big question. What kind of consequences could she face if convicted? We're talking years, possibly decades, behind bars, depending on how the court views the case. And that's not all. Cases involving minors tend to carry even heavier weight in the justice system. Judges and juries take them extremely seriously because at the center of it all is a child. A child who, according to investigators, may have been placed in a situation no child should ever be in. And while the legal battle is just beginning, the public reaction is already intense. People online are debating. Some are shocked, some are angry, and others are asking how something like this could even happen in the first place, which brings us to something even bigger than this case, the role of online platforms like Roblox. Because millions of kids use it every day. They log in, they chat, they interact, and most of the time it's completely harmless. But cases like this raise serious concern about monitoring, about safety, and about how easily conversations can happen without adults even knowing. It's a conversation that's growing louder by the day. And this case is right at the center of it. So before we move into the final part, where we break down the full impact and what this means going forward, make sure you're subscribed and don't forget to comment where you're watching from.